Hello friends, welcome to my channel English Vocabulary with Mahfoud. So another video, another vocabulary of course, and then the vocabulary of today will be of the grammar vocabulary. Grammar vocabulary in English plays a big role. It's very important you learners to know more about the grammar, to know more about the grammar vocabulary because in English grammar plays a very important part to sound like fluent and to sound more, of course, accurate when it comes to how you can write and speak at the same time. And the grammar vocabulary of today will be about the past tenses. And the past tenses are, very important to express many things, many actions that happened in the past. Okay. And we will see in this episode differences, okay, in meaning, in terms of meaning, types, structure, and usages, of course. And first, of course, we will start with the meaning. So let's identify what is past. So what is past? So if we see it in a timeline, it will be very easier for us to identify it very clearly. So the timeline we have here, we have the past that is before, between brackets I put before, okay, to remember what is the past. In the middle we have present. We talked about the present in the previous session. And what will come after is the future, okay? So, the past is anything happened before the present. So anything that happened before has finished is the past. It's called the past in English. And we have many types of past, like simple past. You call it past simple. So both are synonyms. You can use which one you like, simple past or past simple. And the second one is past continuous or past progressive. Both are correct as well. And the other type is past perfect. Okay. And the last one is past perfect continuous. Right? These are the types of the past tense. So we start with the meaning. Okay, so past is a tense. Okay, the definition of past. Past is a tense like simple future, simple past, past perfect, etc., which talks about actions that happened in the past time. That is before. So I put before to make you aware of what is the past. Okay. And we have many types of the past. Okay, we have the simple past. These are types of past: simple past, past continuous, and past perfect, and the past perfect continuous. And we call these in English tenses. Okay, I hope it's clear. Now, of course, we're still with the past, but we will move on to the structure. So in English, we have the affirmative structure and a negative structure. Okay, let's see it to know more about it. Okay, so we call it as well positive form. Affirmative form is positive form as a synonym. You can use interchangeably the word you like. Okay, so we have the positive form and the negative form. Okay, simple past. We will start with the simple past. So the first one, I ate. Okay, in the negative form, I didn't eat. All right. He, she, it, ate. He, she, it didn't eat. Okay, this is the affirmative form. He, she, it, ate. And he, she, it didn't eat. This is the negative form of the simple past. You, we, they, it. This is the affirmative form. And the negative form is you, we, they didn't eat. All right, so this is the form of the simple past with the verb to eat. Okay, and this is applicable to all the verbs. So there is a note here I would like to shed light on. So we used to do auxiliary in the past form to make the negative form with all verbs except the verb to be. So we use the auxiliary to do, of course, to make the negative form in the past. Okay, so it's also in the present, but here in this case we use to do if we want to express negative form. Okay, you have to remember that, and we have to make to do in the past. Okay, so the present of to do is do, and the past of it is did. Okay, as you see here, I didn't eat. So I did not, for the negative form, eat, to make the verb to eat looks in a negative form. I hope it's clear, of course, for you. Except the verb to be, because the verb to be, I mean, it doesn't need an auxiliary to make the negative form. And we will talk about the verb to be in a session later in the videos which will come in future. Okay, so now we will move on to the usage of the simple past. Okay, so we all want to know how we can use the simple past correctly. So the usage of the simple past, finished events. So we use it with finished events and actions. Okay, so events that happened before. Okay, actions that happened before and they are finished. They must be finished. Okay, this is the past simple. And with some adverbs. Okay, adverbs are indicators, are signs and hints which help us to use the simple past. So adverbs like before, ago, yesterday, last Monday, or week, or year, etc. Okay, so these are indicators or adverbs which help us to use the simple past. Okay, let's see examples, of course, to know more about the simple past and the usage of it. Okay, example. The first one. She walked 1 kilometer on foot. Okay, she walked 1 kilometer on foot. So, I mean, the action of walking happened before because we used the simple past here. Okay, the action is finished. The second, we traveled to Sweden last year. Again, we have here last, that is a adverb, okay? It's the adverb as an indicator, okay? To help us to use the simple past in this sentence. So we traveled to Sweden when? Last year, okay? The last one, I went to school this morning, okay? It might be a night, okay, now. And this morning, okay, of today, I went to school, which means I have gone to school this morning, right? So I went. So went is the simple past of the verb to go, okay? I really advise you to check out the regular and the irregular verbs of how they are changed, of how they can change from present and past and future, or the past participle. Sorry, okay. Okay, so I hope you're now aware of how simple past is constructed when it comes to the positive and the negative form, and how it could be used. Okay, in terms of context that you want to use in writing or speaking. Okay. Now let's move on. Okay, with the simple past as well, and with the structure again. The affirmative structure and the negative structure. But now we will talk about past continuous as another type of past. Okay. And remember that we have said that if we want to use the continuous tense, it could be present, past, or future. You have to use the auxiliary to be. Okay, to be must be included. And since we're talking about the past continuous, let's see the structure to know more about it. I was eating. Okay, this is the positive form. I was not eating. This is the negative form. Okay, so I was. All right, not I am. I was. So to be must be in the past form. I was eating. I wasn't eating. Second, he, she, it was eating. This is the affirmative form or the positive form. He, she, it was not eating. This is the negative form. And the last one, you, we, they were eating. This is the positive form. You, we, they were not eating. This is the negative form. Okay. So there is a note here I would like to talk about. The ing form. I would like to talk about the ing form. The ing form is important in all continuous tenses. All continuous tenses could be past or present or future. you have to include the ing form. Okay, and here in the past continuous we have was or were. As a form to make the past continuous, of course, of the verbs. So to be here in the past must be was or were, not was or were alone. So some forms take I was, some other forms take you were, okay, or we they were. So you have to be aware of how you can when or where you can use was and were in the right context. Okay, so was must be with the form I, he, she, it. Were must be with you, we, they. Okay, you have to remember that to master the past continuous form. Now let's see the usage of the past continuous and when we should use it. So the usage of the past continuous, it is used with long actions which were happening at the moment of speaking in the past and with some adverbs. Okay, so long actions which were happening. Okay, so long actions, we talked about the long actions with long verbs, active verbs, which shows that something was happening or actions were happening at the moment of speaking in the past. So there is a long action happened or were or was happening in the past. Okay, so and it must be long. Okay, and we will see examples, of course, of how it must be used, of course, to know more about it. And we use, of course, the past continuous with adverbs because adverbs help us, of course, to use the correct tense. And in this case, we have while and when and etc. We have many, of course, adverbs which help us to use the past continuous. Okay, let's see together the examples of past continuous form. Example, the first one, I was studying when my mom came back home. Okay, so this is a long action, was happening in the past, as I told you. I was studying when my mom came back home. Okay, I was studying when my mom came back home. So I was studying is a long action. To study is an active verb. The verb that takes a long duration. So was studying means that something was happening in the past, that is past continuous. Okay, when my mom came back home. Okay, this is the past form here in this sentence. The second example, Reem was reading while we were watching TV. Reem was reading. Okay, so was reading is the past continuous form. It's a long action. To read is an active verb. It's a long action. Okay. Reem was reading, which means that she was reading her book. In the past. Okay, in the past, and it was very long action. While we were watching TV. Okay, so were watching TV. Watching is an active form as well. So were watching TV is a long action which was happening in the past. Okay, I hope you got the point, of course, of the past continuous. And now we will move on to another past tense. Okay, another structure, affirmative and the negative structure of the verb of the tense past perfect. Okay, so past perfect, you have to use it to have auxiliary. Okay, so we have said that to have the perfect, the perfect tenses in English in general, to have must be included as an auxiliary to make the perfect tense in general. The first one, I had eaten. This is the affirmative or the positive form. I hadn't eaten. This is a negative form of the verb to eat. Okay, I hadn't eaten. She or he, she, it had eaten. This is the positive form. He, she, it hadn't eaten. This is a negative form. And lastly, you, we, they had eaten. This is the positive form. You, we, they hadn't eaten. This is the negative form. And remember that when we use the past perfect, had doesn't change. Okay, I had eaten. she had eaten, or he, she, it had eaten. And even in the negative form, he, she, it hadn't eaten, and you, we, they had eaten, you, we, they hadn't eaten. So had doesn't change in the past perfect, and this is a good information for us. Okay, to learn more about the past perfect. Okay, and again, there is a note here I would like to draw attention to. So note, we used to have auxiliary in the past perfect, okay, tense, past perfect tense, and we should use the past form of to have, okay, that is had or hadn't, to express the past perfect. As we said before, so to have auxiliary is important, of course, and we have to use it in the past perfect, and we should use the form to have in the past, that is had a form, a positive form, and hadn't, it's a negative form, as you can see in the structure we talked about earlier. And now we move to the usage of the past perfect, and it's very important. The usage of past perfect, so we use it with two actions happened in the past, but one happened before the other. Two actions happened in the past. Remember, two actions happened in the past, but one happened before the other. Okay, so we have two actions, but one preceded in the happening of the other. So one happened before the other. Okay, and with some adverbs. We will see this, of course, in examples to know more about it. And with adverbs, of course, like before, after, till, etc. We have many adverbs in English which help us to use the past perfect. Let's see examples, of course. The first example, I had showered and then I had breakfast. Okay, these are two actions happened in the past. Okay, I had showered and then I had breakfast. I had showered. So had showered is the past perfect of the verb to shower. Okay, this is the first action. It will take the past perfect form. I had showered and then I had breakfast. So had is the past form of the verb to have. The second example, my mom hadn't prepared my lunch, so I was still hungry. I was still hungry, sorry. My mom hadn't prepared my lunch, so I was still hungry for the whole evening. So my mom hadn't prepared my lunch. The first action is, which didn't happen, is that my mom usually prepare my lunch, but she didn't. Okay, so hadn't prepared my lunch, so I was still hungry for the whole day. The second action is that I was still hungry for the whole evening. Okay, I hope you got the point with the past perfect, and let's move on to the other part, or to the other type of the past, with another structure again, that is the past perfect continuous. Okay, so the past perfect continuous, we use two auxiliaries that are to be and to have. Okay, let's see the structure first and talk about the auxiliaries later. So the positive form, it's like I had been eating. The negative form, it will be I hadn't been eating. Okay, the positive form, I had been eating. The negative form, I hadn't been eating. Okay, so to be is used with the continuous tense. Okay, whenever we hear the progressive or the continuous tense, we use to be as an auxiliary with the ing form, of course. And whenever we hear the perfect tense, past perfect, future perfect, present perfect, we have to use the auxiliary to have, as it is shown here in the structure. Okay. Second, he, she, it had been eating. All right. This is the positive. He, she, it hadn't been eating. This is the negative form. The last one, you, we, they had been eating. Okay. And the negative form will be you, we, they hadn't been eating. Okay. So this is the structure of the past perfect continuous, and I hope you can memorize it. It's very easy, it's very simple, and you have just to practice. Okay. And I hope you can practice, of course. Now let's move on to the usage of the past perfect continuous. So we use it to talk about long action which was happening in the past and finish in the past as well. So whenever there is a point I would like to talk about. So whenever we talk about the tense that is continuous, it's always a long action. That's why whenever we say past perfect continuous or present perfect continuous or future perfect continuous or past continuous or present continuous or future continuous, it's always talking about a long action. You have to remember that. Whenever we hear continuous, remember that the action it's long, okay? Or sorry, the action is long, okay? So the usage. So to talk about long action which was happening in the past and finish in the past. Usually it's a past perfect continuous and the action happened in the past, okay? And will finish in the past, okay? And it's very long action of course, to talk about the past perfect continuous, okay? It's a long action which happened in the past and finished. It was happening in the past and finished in the past as well. So, and we use the past perfect continuous, of course, with some adverbs like for, since, and when, and etc. So we have, of course, many adverbs which help us to use the past perfect continuous. All right, so now let's move on to the examples to know when we, of course, use the past perfect continuous. Example, the first one, I had been working for the company for 5 years. I had been working for the company for 5 years. That means I had been working, okay, in the past, and the action finished. And I'm no longer working for the company now in the present. So the action was long in the past and it finished completely. All right, I had been working for the company for 5 years, which means I'm no longer a worker in that company anymore. Okay. The second, actually, we hadn't been preparing for the exams last year. So actually, we hadn't been preparing. Okay, so last year it's the action, it's the indicator of time. Okay, last year is last is an adverb of time, which shows that something finished in the of course in the past. Last year is a past. Okay, is the year before this year. Okay, so we hadn't been preparing. So preparing is a long verb, a long action verb that shows that we hadn't been preparing. Okay, we hadn't doing a lot of efforts to prepare for the exams last year. So it was a long action. Okay, and happened in the past and finished in the past as well. I hope you got the point, of course. I hope you liked the video, of course. Good day to you all. And if you like the video, just click the like button and try to subscribe to my channel and see more of this kind of these kind of videos. And I hope I can see you next video. Till then, see you. Bye.